Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Verena and I'm super happy that you found your way back here for a new video, a different format today. I might incorporate the cards, but I'm not yet 100% sure. I just followed my intuition, followed my impulse to come online and talk about trust today. Because I think it's a major topic at the moment, how to regain trust in yourself, how to regain trust in life, as trust is something we need, we have to have, that we can live a life where we are not constantly being plagued by our anxiety, by our feeling of needing to control situations to make sure there are certain outcomes, and overall to be more healthy and more fulfilled and live a life in the present moment. Yeah. So this talk is not planned at all. So we'll see what wants to come through. But I had a situation yesterday and it brought me back to that topic of trust. And that's why I want to talk with you about it. And I actually had many situations in the past, but as this one was coming in yesterday, I was like, okay, I need to talk with you about this. So yesterday, my landlord, as I moved in here, I said I want to try it for a month. And if I like the house, and then we see. And obviously I like it. So I didn't come back to my landlord again, and she didn't talk with me about it anymore. So I thought it was like sort of a silent agreement that it's just going on. But for her it was different. And yesterday I got a call and she's like, oh, hi, can somebody come tomorrow to look at the house? And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you said you only want to stay for a month. So I have people wanting to look at the house. They want to move in December. And I'm like, what I'm going to do? I don't want to move out. I don't know where to go next from here. What if I need to move out? Where would I go? What would I do? So 150,000 questions opened up in my head. And I was like really unsettled, as you can imagine, because me and my little fur family, we had quite a rough year. I came back in January from Germany after 4.5 years not visiting my family, not seeing my family, finding out that my partner, I don't want to go too deep into it, but he had a different understanding of our connection. And so things were not clear at that moment anymore. And I had to move house because next to me, people moved in who had a different noise capacity than I had. I love to live a quiet life, and I like to sleep at night. And these people were a little bit different in that, let's say it like this. So I had to move, and then my animals got sick, like one after another. Then I found a baby dog in June who was 5 weeks old, had a big hole in his body. So I sort of brought her back to life, Then my cat got sick. Then we had to move out of the house again because they made a street out of my garden. And it was sort of a year full of movement, full of unexpected things which I could not plan, so, and that is challenging for us humans because we love to have a plan that makes us feel safe, that makes us feel secure, that makes us feel like we have control in a universe where we don't actually have control because we're like an ant, not even, we are the size of bacteria in the whole cosmos. But our human mind wants to keep us safe, obviously, so we want to have a plan. And what comes to mind is that life happens when we are busy making plans. And that's sort of how it is. So when that situation yesterday happened because, as I said, it was a very year I was like, oh, not again. I don't want to move again. And so I could observe myself from being actually in a good mood, hearing that information, what happened, like spiraling down into fear. What is going to happen? So I was seeing my mind creating worst case scenarios. And so I was laying on bed and I was like, okay, oh my God, what am I going to do? Etc., etc. And then I was like, okay, Verena, so now it's time to put in the work. It's put in the work you teach to people. So I was like, what outcome do I want to have? I was like, what do I want? So, do I want to stay in this house? Yes. Okay, so don't engage into any thoughts that counteract on what I want. You know, I always say in my coachings, imagine, imagine I have a lamp, which I have here. So where do I want to put this light towards? Do I want to make my fears bigger by putting a highlight onto them? Or do I want to put that light onto my vision, onto where I want to go to? So I was like, okay, I now decide that I want to stay, my nose is itchy, that I want to stay in this house. Okay. Whatever thought is not supporting this, I just let it go. And because obviously my first impulse was, I need to talk with somebody about this. And then I already know it isn't helping it either. If I talk with people about it, I will engage again into the story, which is only one possible outcome. We live in a universe where there are so many possibilities and you can choose. And you choose by your thoughts and where you invest into. So I was like, but my mind was like, I need to talk with somebody about it. So I talked with my best friend about it, which was fine. But then I was like, I don't want to make it bigger. I don't want to entertain this possibility because I'm not choosing. I choose not to choose this possibility that I need to move out in a couple of days. So I was observing myself while I was going through the process and what happened then? And then I was like, okay. And I decided then to hand it over to God. I was like, this is what I want. Please, I surrender now. I give it up. Help in this situation. I made my decision. This is what I want. And I imagined handing it over. And I felt actually really, really good afterwards. I was like, oh, that felt good. It felt like I'm not alone in this anymore. I did what I can do. I chose consciously to not entertain any thought which is not supporting my vision. And what came to mind then was a situation. I have actually two situations which are amazingly supportive to my theory or what I practiced yesterday. It was 2017 or 18. My friend from Switzerland came back to Bali, and at that time I was dog sitting in Ubud. And I will never forget that. So she came and we were like, okay, once this dog sit is over, we need to find a new accommodation. I think she stayed for several months, 2 or 3 months or even longer. I don't remember fully anymore. And we were looking around and we could not find any suitable accommodation, which was not like overpriced. I think it was right in high season. And it was like bewitched. We were like, why is this happening? This is crazy. What are we going to do? So on the last night, we sat on my balcony and I said something along the lines to Manuela, because I think we drank a beer or a glass of wine. I said, let's cheers to that we're going to find the most amazing accommodation. Yeah, let's send up the wish to the universe, into the skies, and just trust. And that was it. We went to bed the next morning, nothing. And Manuela was like, where were we going? Like, where are we going? We need to check out at 12 or 1 before the lady comes home, from her holiday. And I was like, I don't know. The only thing we can do now is to pack our stuff and move out of this house. That's the only thing, I have no clue. So we were doing this, and while this was happening, my telephone rang, and Kaisa, a former friend of mine, rang, and she said, "Oh, hi, Verena, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm moving." And she's like, "Where to?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she's like, I'm like, "What do you want?" "I have no time." And she said, "I would actually wanted to have a coffee with you, but yeah, it looks like you don't have time." And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "But so you don't have accommodation?" I said, "No." And she's like, "I have an idea." And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "There's this amazing place I stayed for a year, and it's a resort, it's a hotel, but upstairs they have rooms for long-term rent. And I'm gonna check in with the owner and I'll let you know if they have 2 rooms." And I was like, "Seriously?" And she's like, "Yes." So 10 minutes later, I got the information that they have 2 rooms and we could come there to look at it. And we went there and we were in love. It was the most magnificent place, and one of the places in Bali where I stayed the longest, because the place is just amazing. And you know, 2 or 3 hours later, we checked in. They had 2 rooms left, one called Lotus, one called Coconut. I moved into Coconut, and I stayed there for so many months, I think even for nearly a year, because it was just an amazing room, amazing value for the price. I was sort of in the middle of the jungle. It was just beyond. It was really, really beautiful. And it came out of nowhere. It came that moment, like 5 to 12 in a sense. And many, many times things happen 5 to 12 when we are really surrendering and be like, okay, now, poof, I drop the mic. I trust it's going to happen. And this is one situation, and another one which is similarly magical. In 2018, I left Bali for nearly a year. And because I ran out of money, I had no clue how to make it work. And I was like, I felt that I need to deal with some stuff at home. When I left, I had left in 2017 in the beginning. I had no clue. I was just leaving Germany. I thought I'm going to travel for a year and come back. But things, again, life is happening when you're busy making plans. So I felt there was something actually calling me home. And obviously, as we are always, our soul is always supporting us in our way, I manifested being without money. So I had to return to look after some stuff. So I decided, and it was in August 2018, I decided I will fly home. It was quite something to do that, but I decided it, and side story another time, but I went to Ubud, and I was like, okay, I will go home. I always talk with the universe, and I would highly recommend you to do that too. I said, okay, guys, I really, really need your help now. I am needing to go home. I know I cannot stay with my parents for a longer time, max a month. What are we going to do? I need your support. You called me there. I felt that I was called home. I said, I need your support. And then I sort of let it go. And to explain the story, before I left to travel in 2017, I did my second Reiki certificate to do distance Reiki, to offer. And little sales catch, if you want a distant Reiki session, please let me know. I met a really, really beautiful girl in the course, and we became friends, and she was really, really amazed by my journey, and she got me a little present when I left it. So it was really nice, and we stayed in contact for the first couple of weeks, but then it sort of drizzled, whatever. So anyways, when I was about to go home, it was in August and September 11, my flight home was planned. I gave this up to the universe and I went to bed. The next morning I get up and I went on Facebook, and I see a post of hers saying, a friend of mine is having a room or a house for rent, a flat for rent, not a house, a flat for rent. If you want further information, please let me know. And I was like, I don't know where this is. I don't know for how long, how much it costs, but let's send a message. So I sent her a message and I said, hi Gisela. So I'd be interested in where this place is, for how long, etc. Because I'm coming home from Bali and I need a place to stay. And then, of course, time difference. I went to bed again. I get up and I get a message from her saying, oh my God, Verena, this is unbelievable. This place I said is for a friend of mine. It's actually my flat. I'm going to Berlin for a dance certification. It all takes around 6 months. I'm leaving on the 1st of October. I arrived on the 11th of September. And on top, she said, she said, you can stay in there. It's all in there. It's furnished. You have everything you need. I not take anything with me. So, which is amazing because when I left Germany, I gave everything up, I left. So I didn't have anything anymore. And then she said, and the most incredible thing is, the night before she got my message, she sat in her living room and she was sitting down with the universe and with our Reiki teacher, sort of in spirit, saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Shall I give up the flat? And then she thought about me and she was like, I'm sure Verena would just go with the wind and let go of the flat. And then she fell into it and she was like, but that's not me. I can't do this. So she, in Reiki, you do sort of, I don't know how this is in English. You set an intention and you put the Reiki sign on top and sort of give it up to spirit. And that's what she did. And she asked that there is the most amazing soul who loves this place so much coming into the flat to live there for 6 months. And guess who this soul was? Me. Because when she got up, she had that message on her phone and she nearly fell off the chair because she was like, this is incredible. This is like magic. And this is the magic once we surrender and trust. That's actually trust, surrender. Once we let go and actually let go and let God and release resistance. Yeah, in the moment when we, and I mean, it's so easy said than done when I tell you, oh, let go. And I'm not a master in that yet. It's every time a new challenge, but it gets easier over time. And it's getting easier over time when you understand the concept behind it and when you understand the subconscious mind and your conditioning and things like that. And when you regain that trust within the body, because situations could have been happen in your life where your trust was broken through another person. And then let's come to the chakras. Let's come to the root. The root chakra is our connection to the earth. It's our connection to our parents, to our roots, to where we come from, our heritage. And when something happens in that realm there, then the root chakra can be blocked. So we can have real big issues in trusting God, trusting life, trusting people, trusting institutions. Yeah, so this can play out in several scenarios. And when we don't have trust in something, things get really, really difficult because when we don't have trust, we also don't have patience. Because patience and trust go together. Yeah, I cannot be patient if I not trust that a thing is going to happen. And it's also very, very important in relationships, especially in romantic relationships. So it's a major, major thing. And they did a study, which I came across recently, that since the pandemic, people are not as trusting anymore. They are more suspicious towards the government, other people and stuff like that. And it's actually really, really harmful for a human to not be able to trust. Yeah, it can cause illness, especially autoimmune diseases. And, your nervous system, which is which is regulating several body processes. If it's constantly fight and flight because we have that constant feeling of we're not safe, I cannot trust, then we are in tension. And that's when sickness and illness comes up. If we are constantly in tension, if we're constantly holding on, protecting and trying to shield us from something. So I really, what I want to say, I really encourage you to sit down with yourself and maybe journal around the concept of trust. What does trust mean for you? Also, where do you feel trust within your body? That's a big thing for many women, including myself. Feeling safe within the body. Yeah. Trust. Yeah, and many years I tried many things in the spiritual realm, only to come back to the basics. And the basics are trust and self-love. Yeah, in Germany there's a beautiful word called Urvertrauen, which is like I don't know what it would be in English. I don't know if there's but Ur is something which goes back beyond time. It's something deep, it's something old, it's something ancient. And Vertrauen is trust. So that's what we need. Like, we need to be like a massive tree, an oak tree or something, with massive roots into the earth. So whatever comes in life, if it's a storm, if it's a typhoon, whatever it is, it cannot harm us. It can break some branches off, but we are so firmly grounded that nothing can unsettle us and take us out of our solid foundation and of our base. And so yesterday basically I was remembered how important it is to trust. And one of my practices where I really feel I can trust life, I don't know if you hear that, speaking about typhoons and stuff like that, it's rumbling outside. So one of the practices I do every day, twice, and I love it, and if I don't do it I feel like something big is missing, is I walk. And I can highly recommend, if you're a person drawn to depression, anxiety, worries, go out into nature as often as possible. Walk. Yeah. Smell the flowers, lean on a tree, go into the forest, because the forest has actually essential oils which will be given off the trees, and they're calming for our nervous system. They calm your anxiety, they calm your depression. Everything outside, everything in nature is helping us to remember where we're at in that moment. And everything, like today I posted, be where your feet are. We can only experience anxiety and depression. Depression, I don't know, but anxiety when we're either in the past or in the future. Yeah, that's when we experience anxiety, because we're not in the here and now. And that's super important. So I think that's what I wanted to say to that topic of trust. And then you might want to know what happened. So I can stay in the house. Yeah, we talked today, and we